Hey everyone, welcome back to Fortis Capital. Why do so many financially successful families view property ownership as a non-negotiable part of building wealth? In particular, Jewish communities have long embraced real estate as a pillar of financial strategy. This isn't about a get-rich-quick scheme, it's about deep generational thinking. Today, I'll be breaking down why property plays such a key role in long-term Jewish financial success and how you can adopt these same principles, even if you're starting small. We're going to cover the historical and cultural reasons behind this mindset, why property builds not just wealth but security, how it creates long-term stability for families, and what steps you can take to apply this thinking in your own life. Let's get into it. To understand the emphasis on property, we need to look at the historical context. Jewish communities have often lived in parts of the world where they faced instability, politically, economically, and socially. For centuries, they were displaced, discriminated against, or excluded from certain professions or government protections. So what did they do? They turned to what they could control: knowledge, trade, and property. Owning land or real estate gave Jewish families something tangible. It wasn't just about having a roof over your head. It was about having leverage, a form of wealth that couldn't be erased overnight. In times of crisis, that property could be rented, sold, passed down, or used as collateral to start again. And this historical necessity became a deeply embedded financial value. If you want security, own something no one can take away easily. Property is a powerful wealth vehicle, especially when approached with long-term vision. In Jewish financial culture, it's not seen as a status symbol. It's seen as a foundation. Here's why. When you rent, your money disappears each month. When you own, your payments build equity. Over time, that equity becomes wealth. That home you purchased 10 years ago is likely appreciated in value. And with that appreciation comes options. You can refinance it to fund a business. You can use it as leverage to buy a second property. You can rent it out to generate passive income. It's not about quick returns, it's about slow, strategic growth. Jewish families often prioritize real estate early, even before luxuries, because they see it as the cornerstone of independence. And in a world full of financial uncertainty, having a property you own outright or are paying down over time creates peace of mind. Let's take it further. Real estate has often gone hand in hand with entrepreneurship in Jewish communities. Historically, many Jewish families weren't allowed to work in certain professions or industries, so they turned to small business ownership. But here's the key. They didn't just open a shop. They aimed to own the building the shop was in. That created a dual stream of wealth. The income from the business, the appreciation of the real estate it operated from. Owning your commercial space meant lower costs, more flexibility, and long-term control. Today, this same principle applies whether you run a business from your home, buy a shop front, or invest in a rental property that supports your broader financial goals. Ownership gives you options, and options are the real definition of wealth. Here's where the Jewish money mindset really shines. They don't just buy property for themselves, they buy with the next generation in mind. Real estate is one of the most efficient vehicles for generational wealth because it can be passed on, held over time, or divided among family members. And that's not just about giving your children a house. It's about giving them a financial head start, a source of rental income, a deeper understanding of asset ownership. Imagine growing up in a household where owning property is the norm, not the exception. That's the legacy many Jewish families aim to build, not just wealth, but normalized wealth habits. And by the time the next generation is ready, they're not only inheriting assets, they're inheriting the mindset to grow them. But ownership alone isn't enough. What makes this mindset powerful is how it's taught. In many Jewish households, money isn't taboo. Parents talk about mortgages, real estate investing, saving for a deposit, the difference between good debt and bad debt. Kids learn early that buying a property isn't something you figure out later. It's a goal you plan for. They understand the value of compounding equity, leverage, not through formal education, but through family conversations and exposure. This creates a culture where property isn't intimidating. it's expected, and expectations shape reality. So what can we learn from this? You don't need to come from wealth to build it. Start with the mindset, think long-term, prioritize ownership over consumption, learn about property, not just how to buy it, but how to use it to grow wealth, and most importantly, pass that knowledge on. The Jewish approach to property isn't about speculation, it's about strategy, education, and legacy. If this video gave you something to think about, hit like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments. What's your biggest takeaway from today's mindset? And I'll see you in the next one. Be part of the Fortis community where we turn financial knowledge into everyday confidence. Need guidance on your financial journey? Reach out to us anytime at finance@fortiscapital.com.au.